Hello everyone, and welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for the penultimate race in our Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike National Championship Series. I'm your series announcer, Frank Wood. Today's race is brought to you by Dalton Timmis Insurance, Honda, Magneti Marelli, offered by Mopar, Drift, and Dunlop.
Welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and the penultimate day in the 2018 Mopar CSBK Series. But right now we want to watch Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike and see if Thomas Kazaz can clinch his second consecutive national crown for Yamaha Canada and Parts Canada.
There's Austin Shaw, or Jacob Shaw O'Leary, I should say. I quite often get those two mixed up. Of course, Austin racing with us for a year. Jacob has definitely taken the torch in that family.
Watching us on the warm-up lap here as we head around the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, 10 turns, and almost all of those turns are very wide and very, very fast.
We had one of the most exciting qualifying sessions also for the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike race with Mitch Card stealing pole position from Tommy Casas in the last moment. And speaking of Tommy Casas, we're on board with him right now, following one of our riders, Vincent Lavillon, in from Quebec. And we're headed up towards turn 3 right now on this warm-up lap.
And you mentioned that Card grabbed the pole at the very end of our qualifying session on Friday, and that was important because he needs every point. And last year he was in the same situation, chasing his arch rival Casas, and this time he's pretty far back. It's going to be tough to do, but Card has an amazing history at this venue and has really ridden well and has a powerful, fast company-built Yamaha R6, and I think he's racing on a 4-race unbeaten streak over the last 2 seasons.
And of course, Card winning the double header here last year that put him frightfully close to Tommy Casas for the 2017 Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike Championship. The riders now making their way through the turn number 10, that right-hander that brings them out on the front straightaway. Will line them up on the grid as per their qualifying. 2
Hondas currently at the front. There's Card's very fast Yamaha splitting those 2 CBR 600 double Rs. There's a Kawasaki 600, actually just a little bigger than 600. Tremblay's been having a great season and is coming off his first ever career National Pro win at Atlantic Motorsport Park just about almost exactly 3 weeks ago.
Yes. Card has pole position. He has chosen the right side, though that'll give him the inside line heading into turn number 1. There's Louis Rafa lined up right in behind him. Tommy Casas has taken his position. They exchange pleasantries before the start of this race. And there is number 17, Demarais, who is leading our Pro Sport Bike Pro Rookie of the Year award points situation coming into the final 2 rounds. And it looks like he's in a position to clinch that, but we'll see how that plays out.
Okay, we're under starters orders here. Once that red flag clears the front of the grid, all eyes will be over to their far right. We can see it just to the left of our big screen, and what we're looking at is those start lights that have just drifted into our frame.
Pro 6 Cycles sponsoring our starting lights. The lights are on, all on right now. The lights have gone off and the field is away and launching, and Jacob Shaw O'Leary pulling the front wheel on that Honda, and that has not done him any favors. It is Tommy Casas leading this thing. The shaker is right in behind him, and there is Mitch Card.
And that ugly start, by the way, from the Honda really punched a hole in the grid, and Tremblay took total advantage of it. And this is great stuff. It's terrific to see Tremblay right at the front right away.
Well, he is hot off his win at Atlantic Motorsport Park, of course, and he's got that inner fire burning that we often refer to. Our champion is leading this one over Tremblay, then Mitch Card, and Jacob Shaw O'Leary sitting back there on the Pro Cycle Kimpec-sponsored Honda. There's Sebastian Tremblay. We were on board with him for a moment there with our drift camera. Here comes the pack down through 4 into the chute and into Moss's corner, or corner number 5.
And here's the first of our many very important trips up the back straight, and we're trying to get in behind the screen, get our knees in, get our elbows down. These 600 bikes have around 115 horsepower, and look, first lap, Mitch Card is showing what he's showing over and over again.
Oh man, there's no doubt about it. He has got a fast Yamaha, and a good reason for it. It's put together by Fast Company. Tommy Casas holds him off, heading into turn number 8. Card's got second spot. The shaker holds on to third, and Jacob Shaw O'Leary solidly there in 4th spot.
Great to see O'Leary. Look at that, Tryon Tremblay recovering from that bad start. What a move.
Wow,
that is
beautiful move.
And I wanted to say how much I enjoy the drift cameras, and it is superb on the first lap here. It really gives you a sense of what it's like to be elbow to elbow at high speed.
Jacob Shaw O'Leary has shown his intentions with that pass. That was beautifully executed, and it had put him solidly into 3rd spot, but he has designs on a better better position than that. Now here he comes around the outside of turn 2 and way wide in that one as Card drifts wide as well. Both riders right up against the line now to riders right as they pitch it into Quebec corner, turn number 3.
And Tremblay's wondering, what's going on? I'm riding great and suddenly I'm 4th, right? Like, this is just a crazy pace.
And in 5th spot is Louis Rafa. He's having a very good ride here as well. Rafa now closing in on the top 4 riders as they come down in the chute. That's David McKay sitting back there as well on the 82 machine as he stacks in behind them. And now out onto the back straightaway. Grab a handful of horsepower. Let's go for a ride. We're with the shaker right now.
You gotta love Shaw O'Leary. He is not worried about the line. He is going to do what he thinks makes sense. He's been very, very wide in the fast corners. 3 weeks ago at Shuby, he was just amazing on the wide line, and he's doing it here too. He did it here last year, which was really his big breakthrough. Now he tries the inside of Tremblay.
Tremblay tries him on the outside, and he tries to hold on to position, but he can't get it done as Jacob Shaw O'Leary has moved up 1 rung on our ladder.
Look at
man, way wide coming out there, and the same thing is true of turn 10. He pulls it off 10 pretty good though, and gets back on the racing line.
Claudio Corti playbook there. I'm going to use all the racetrack, even parts I hadn't even really looked at before. And what's amazing here is normally Kazaz wouldn't really take the risk so early to set the pace, but this is a different Kazaz. He is not riding the way he usually does.
No, and there goes Mitch Card as we have a look from Tommy Casas' bike. Card to the inside. Very nicely done now as Mitch Card has taken the race lead coming up into turn number 2. Now down into up into 3 rather, and up and over the ramp and down into the valley.
And really, this is what people came to see. This is one of the highlights of the last couple of years. These 2 young guns just going at it full tilt. And look at this. Rafa is 5th and definitely part of this slipstreaming battle.
Tommy and Mitch did the same thing last year. Do you remember, Colin? They were boxing back and forth all throughout the race before Mitch uncorked one and took the race win.
So right now, because Card's bike is so fast, you've got to wonder, can he break clear? And Kazaz does not want to have that happen.
Well, Tommy's running for a championship. You know, he's going to run a smart race. He'll probably sit back and just bring it home. I'm sure he'd love to be on the podium, of course, but the championship is what he has in mind. He wants to keep that number 1 plate. Parts Canada wants it, Yamaha Canada wants it, and Tommy wants it as well.
And in the back of this shot, Shaw O'Leary's just doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and he is chipping away at these guys in front, looking to make a pass work.
And Rafa is not letting go of this thing, and I think we got a new joiner in there as well, if I'm not mistaken. I saw David McKay starting to close up a bit on Rafa. On board with Tommy Casas right now as we steam down in through turn, a daunting dive into that left-hander, and again, Jacob Shaw O'Leary way out to the riders right there. Looking back now at the shaker, Sebastian Tremblay in the 24 machine, solidly in 3rd spot, being challenged now again by Jacob Shaw O'Leary. On board right now with Jacob Shaw O'Leary. And off to his right. Look at that now as McKay has swooped in there, swooping in and taking that position away from O'Leary for a moment now as David McKay has joined this party.
And that's what it's like when you're a foot and a half behind the guy in front at well over 140 kilometers per hour. And it takes a lot of confidence. These guys have ridden all summer long, battled against each other. They know what the other guy's good at. And what's amazing is how fast these 5 motorcycles are. We're expecting Card's bike to set the pace, but they're hanging in.
I think I was a bit apprehensive on that call. It is, we do have McKay sitting back there, but he has not caught up. And look at the pass by Jake. Oh, man, a moment there for O'Leary as he got his backside off the saddle just for a moment. Colin looked like he hooked up a little bit too much. He tries the outside line in turn number 10. Can't get it done there as the shaker holds on and shakes him off as they head down the front straightaway. Again, Tremblay looks to the inside of Casas. Nothing to be had there.
Yeah, and I'm impressed by Card. He's setting a good pace, very tidy on the bike, and we know that style suits this track so very well. But look at this, they're closer together. Oh my goodness.
Right off onto the green there, Jacob Shaw O'Leary. This is disaster waiting to happen.
And that scrubbed him off, right? He's behind Rafa now. He is in trouble. He's going to have to calm down and get going and get tucked in and work the draft, or he will not regain the lead group.
Tremblay had a pretty good stab at Casas there a few feet ago, but Casas has pulled it out again and created a little bit of space between himself and Tremblay. And Rafa now solidly into 4th spot as a result of Jacob's miscue.
And now we go up the drag strip, the horsepower dyno climbing the hill here, and these 600s are very equally matched. And what's interesting is, of course, we didn't know how Tremblay would do. He's the newcomer to this class. The other guys are more experienced. And that Kawasaki, as we expected, is very fast.
So McKay is sitting back in 6th spot. He is on that Blue Streak Racing sponsored Kawasaki, the number 82 bike, but he's quite a bit off the pace. Here is Louis Rafa testing the inside line there in turn number 8. Now into 9. Oh man, look at this. The shaker has taken the position away. Or has he? As Tommy challenges him midway through that corner, but Sebastian Tremblay now on the Kawasaki, snicks in behind the Yamaha of Mitch Card, and he has 2nd spot. Tommy Casas holds on to 3rd. And we are on board with Tommy right now, defending champion on the number 1 Yamaha.
And I think a number of racers can watch what Tremblay just did. It was a clean pass. It was smart. Didn't waste a lot of time. Didn't lose any momentum. And look at he is pushing so hard here.
Tries the inside line there. Mitch Card closes the door on him, and Tremblay wisely sits in behind him. We got a ways to go yet. Tremblay is playing the smart game now, a solid 2nd spot, and he is pacing himself brilliantly.
And it's worth mentioning, Tremblay has a busy weekend. He used to ride Superbike. This year he's focused on Sport Bike, but he is riding a Superbike this weekend and qualified very well in his return to the feature class.
Yeah, Turcotte Performance were the ones that gave him that Superbike with Gulf sponsorship. So here we are on board with Tommy Casas once more on the Mario Andretti straightaway, and we are chasing the shaker, who in turn is chasing Mitch Card. Wide open field there for Tommy now as we come up and under the Canadian Tire Bridge, and they stack it right into turn number 8.
And Rafa is now a bit of a distant 4th. He's lost the leaders, and a little bit behind him is Shaw O'Leary. So it looks like right now this is a 3-horse race, and they've managed to get rid of 2 of their drafting partners. And maybe Shaw O'Leary and Rafa can work together. It's possible. Those Hondas are fast, but they need to get organized, and right now it doesn't look good.
With no disrespect, Shaw O'Leary's different lines that he's using in the corner, I don't think they're going to be able to work together. Rafa won't be able to hook onto those kind of lines and maintain pace.
Looking back from our leader Card, watching Tremblay go to work, and he is a stylist, and he is very efficient in his motions.
On board with Sebastian. Oh man, I thought he had the pass made going into 3. That is Quebec corner, and it would be rather appropriate to have the shaker make his pass at that point, but it didn't happen. Not yet, anyhow.
Fun to watch him on board because he has such a tidy style, almost old-fashioned, but his pace is solid. And, you know, I think everybody at the front can learn a little bit from how Tremblay goes road racing.
No question about it. We saw it at Atlantic Motorsport Park as well when he won his first national there just a few weeks back. He was riding on dimes then, and he's doing the same thing now. Every lap, he's on the perfect line.
And, of course, he's trying to figure out what is it going to take. And, yeah, they're heading for the ditch the way people like Riedman and Crevier have to try and discourage the person behind who's starting to worry about his radiator.
Smart move by Mitch Card. He's got the race lead, and if a couple of pebbles happen to come up, well, sorry about that, guys.
And here's Tremblay, a little bit of a moment there, and he is squaring up on Card.
He's looking for an opportunity. Tremblay is ready to pounce, rather. He's made a couple of stabs already, and it's just a matter of getting the right move. Now, coming out of 10 there, we're catching some action going back there. Louis Rafa and Jacob Shaw O'Leary, and I believe they've got company now. Let's see if we pick up on that.
No, I think they hooked up, though. I think that they're working the slipstream. Okay, so maybe what was so obvious to us, they figured out we cannot get back to the lead unless we work together.
Right
now,
on. Yep.
It's worth noting, all these bikes are very strong 600s, but those 2 Hondas are particularly strong.
Yes, indeed, and they are starting to close that distance. Indeed, Mitch Card continues to lead here with Tommy Casas playing the championship role right now. That is exactly where he wants to be, Colin. He's in 3rd spot. He's got the whole pack behind him, but for 2 riders, so he can concentrate on his race now and just bring this thing home. If he can put it on the podium, he's going to net himself another championship, and that'll be 2 in a row for Tommy if he can do it.
Well, Casas is working the Jordan Zoke playbook, right? I need to stay with the leaders. I need to try and win it. I need to position myself where I could win it, but I have to think points. And he went through 2 separate races, one in the rain, one in the dry at Shubenacadie, and did a fantastic job of managing pace versus points requirement. And actually, if in the background there's those 2 Hondas look a little closer this time.
I've been caught out a number of times on commenting that riders seem to have a very good lead, and to see that lead disappear on that Mario Andretti straightaway. But if Mitch Card can maintain this lead, he has the advantage on the straightaway.
So I don't know what happened to Rafa, but Shaw O'Leary is much closer now.
In spite of his erratic lines, so O'Leary chasing down our
See him?
top
He's in
three.
that shot now.
Yeah, you're right on. Yeah, in fact, he has left Louis behind quite a distance now. Louis Rafa sitting back now in 5th spot.
How did that happen? How did Shaw O'Leary catch up so much in such a short period of time? And these guys here are not getting in each other's way. I don't think they're slowing each other up. So it'll be interesting to look at our lap times, because Shaw O'Leary must have ripped a couple of really good ones.
Yeah, no kidding. And again, with no disrespect to Jacob, he has been riding some rather erratic lines, some very wide lines and what have you.
Can I mention very entertaining lines?
Yeah, that too. But as you saw him come down through 2, he was right on the racing line there.
Look at that. He is back in the conversation.
Nice and neat through 5.
Amazing accomplishment by Shaw O'Leary to get back. We've seen it happen a few times. Bodie Eadie famously did it once, got back to the lead group, and man, does the guy who climbs back in get motivated.
Twice we've seen Bodie Eadie go from 5th to 3rd in the last 2 turns of the race over the years, so it can happen, and if it's going to happen, it'll be at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. That is a certainty. Tommy Casas seems to be gassing it up a bit now. We're watching from his motorcycle at the shaker in front, Sebastian Tremblay on the 24. Now we're looking back at Sebastian as he is again chasing Mitch Card.
Look at that. Yamaha, Kawasaki, Yamaha, Honda, and really nothing to choose. And I can't say enough about Shaw O'Leary on that Pro Cycle Honda. He has climbed back into this dispute, and I expect that he will be the catalyst to some drama.
And let's remember also, Shaw O'Leary got hurt early in the season. He sat out most of the season. I think he got 1 regional race in. Oh, look at that beautiful shot. Oh, man, just about into the back end of Tommy Casas there. That was close, Colin.
Yeah, and look at 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. There is literally nothing there. And, man, you've got to have faith in the people around you. And it's, look at this wide line at the top of 4. Wow.
Down the valley they go. Shaw O'Leary now looks to the inside. Nothing to be had there as they tuck into 5 and make their way through 5A, B, and C, and out onto the back straightaway once more. On board with Tommy Casas.
And Casas is not going to accept 4th. Now this is turning into a problem, so he may start moving around and making some changes to his plan. And I guarantee you, the whole time, Card cannot figure out where they are. Like, he's seeing +0, but nobody's showing him a wheel.
Look at this as O'Leary around the outside of Tommy Casas. Wow.
Or
talk about
really,
bravery.
Tommy finishing
and he takes the inside line going into 9. Nope, not quite going to happen as he had the door slammed on him.
Yeah, and there was a lot going on at the top of the hill there at maximum RPM in 6th gear. And I think, you know, Casas really needs to get rowing, or this is going to come away from him in terms of the championship. He'd like to clinch today if he can.
Still holding on to 3rd spot in behind Tremblay, but he has got a threatening presence in behind him with Jacob Shaw O'Leary, and he knows full well that O'Leary can definitely get the job done. Much tidier going through turn 2 this time with O'Leary. A very different line that time by Sebastian Tremblay, as now he's going to try the outside line. I thought I saw something come off one of the bikes there.
One of our drift cameras just disappeared in turn 3. I'm pretty sure that's what that was, which is a shame.
Drift innovation.
It's off one of the leaders, and we're going to miss that shot.
I don't know who it came off, but you can see it bouncing along the track. Look at this beautiful shot of these 4 riders in perfect symmetry coming through turn 5 again. This is Moss's corner, of course, the lowest elevation on this race course. Now they start to make their way uphill.
Now remember, there are no electronic aids on these 600s, and you can see Shaw O'Leary's Honda just taking the punishment to that rear Dunlop, squirming like crazy. And now Tommy's getting ambitious at near the top of the straight at near top speed.
I don't know if that's such a good idea, but man, wow, holy cow. It worked on Sebastian Tremblay, and it looks like he might be able to get a double draft out of this and pull it off. No, it's not going to happen this time around.
This is as good as onboard gets. It is so close.
Wow. On with Jacob Shaw O'Leary there. Look back at this. This is incredible racing. We've never seen a sport bike race like this, Colin.
Yeah, this is the good stuff. This is what you hope all summer. You're going to see a couple of races a weekend this good. This is the first sport bike race of 2 we're going to have here. And we have 3 or 4 guys who all think they can win it.
It's the first pro race of the day. We started out with the lightweight class to get things started here. O'Leary back to his wide lines again. I find it hard to criticize him when he's getting the job done as he is. There goes Casas to the inside of Mitch Card. Tommy Casas has gathered up the lead.
This is a different Casas. You know, he's still being a little bit careful, but he's a little more comfortable going to the front, and it does remind me of how Jordan Zook has changed and how he wins a championship.
We were on board with Casas for a moment looking back back at Mitch Card, and now here comes Sebastien Tremblay. Oh, it looked like he was going to dive bomb a Mitch Card and park it right in front of him.
And you really don't want this race to end. It is so good and so unpredictable, and you can see the strengths and weaknesses in various parts of the track with all these motorcycles, and these guys are on it, and I'm quite sure all of them think they can win. And, you know, Rafa's not that far back. He's still in the shot.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, we have some company up front as well, Colin. Whoa, nice pass by Casas. Man, did he ever carry the speed, the momentum into turn number 8.
And he made the line, right? He didn't drift wide. He didn't lose time, and it shows you he has something in reserve.
Looking back now at Mitch Card, we're on board with Tommy Casas for a moment. There's Caleb Noyles in on the Capstan Haulage-sponsored machine in from Nova Scotia. He holds his line going into 1, and the top 4 riders have gotten past him cleanly. Nice done, Noyles.
And you can see Tremblay actually working that tire hard out of 1. He's trying to hold his line to try and set up a pass. And don't forget, you're hoping the guy in front just makes the smallest error that gives you that split second, that extra meter that you can utilize.
O'Leary was right on the back end of Sebastien Tremblay coming down off of turn number 2. He swung out a bit as if he was going to just have a look at things. Obviously not quite in a position to make a pass, but you never know when he might uncork one. As you mentioned, Colin, he likely has the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, and he's back and forth, and I'm sure when he caught them, he said, here I go, right? I'll be in the lead in a lap and a half, and he made a couple of good moves, but I think what happened is people were being a little cautious with their pace, and now they, oh no, he got back, right? We need to go. And don't forget, every one of these guys, their pit board is saying +0. There's nothing there.
I would have thought that Jacob Shaw O'Leary would have had the best draft of them all, having 3 bikes in front, but again we're into traffic once more as Tommy Casas leading Mitch Card with your race lead now coming into turn number 9, and Casas gets by, and so does Mitch Card. So the 2 top runners here, both on the racetrack and in the point standings, have gotten past that other rider, and so has Sebastien Tremblay. They haven't lost a thing here, Colin. They're still right with them. We still have a 4-horse race down into turn 1. Here we go, one more circulation.
No issue with the lapped rider. He gives way, and if anything, it got Shaw O'Leary a little bit closer, just the timing and all of that. And there's probably 2 more spots where we can pass this lap, but what we got to remember is that drive up the back straight where Card seems to be the strongest.
Card to the inside. No, as a matter of fact, he went a wee bit wide with that one. It looked like he was trying to get on the inside of Tommy Casas, and that definitely did not work for Mitch Card.
But if I'm Card, being a close second is fine at the start of the climb up the hill. That's okay. Like right now, I still think Card's got this.
Look at O'Leary around the outside of 4. Man, that is dangerous. Oh, down goes O'Leary. O'Leary has lost it. He is high-sided. Looks like he's up. And down goes. Oh, my goodness gracious. 2 in a row now as Mitch Card has also crashed. Unbelievable. Down in Moss's corners, 2 riders down in the space of a blink of an eye, and never even got the sentence out of my mouth.
Thomas
and down went Card.
Kazaz is completely alone now. He has no idea. He thinks he's got 3 guys on his tail. There is no one else in the shot. Tremblay, I'm not sure what happened, but clearly he was involved in some of that.
And he won't see another pit board, so the only thing he's going to see is the checkered flag. This is unreal.
Yeah, these are some of the fastest unchallenged corners in history.
Shot here. We're on board with Tommy Casas at full speed coming out of turn 10. The checkered flag is out. Tommy Casas has taken the race win, and Tommy Casas has taken the 2018 Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike Champ. Do you think he's happy about this? Do you think he's fairly pleased?
Look, he's looking back, and he suddenly realizes there's nobody to celebrate with.
There's Card. Let's have a look at this, Colin.
Okay, we're on board looking backwards, and at the crest of the hill, O'Leary was a little offline, but he high-sides it. I've almost never seen that, and that was a tough crash. That was a big one. He's in the foreground. Now watch Card. He's trying to pick up the throttle to get the drive. He's thinking about the slipstream. He's thinking about the wind. He's thinking about the pavement. And look at Tremblay, nowhere to go. I don't know what happened with. Okay, so now we're on board with Tremblay. We're going to see the details of this and watch Card's bike. It's not going to be good. At very little road speed, too much throttle, pitches him all the other way. Now Tremblay has nowhere to go, and
the bike stopped.
And then Tremblay's driving in, and of course, now Tremblay's starting down.
Pushing him and the motorcycle.
Yeah, just amazing footage here, and shows you how even at low speed things can go wrong. Now this is going to be ugly when this thing turns 90 degrees sideways in a snap of your fingers. Here we go, and it's hard to save, and Card's off the bike now, but like we should be watching for Tremblay. There's the Kawasaki.
Oh, Lordy. Oh man, incredible footage on these Durf cameras, just brings it right into your living room. And Tremblay, oh, what a terrible thing to happen to him at this stage of the race, and looked like he was headed for a podium.
There's a nice shot of a brake rotor, and too bad for Tremblay. It's hard luck, and he rode so well. And I'm sure Kazaz would really like to know what happened at Moss Corner.
And who finished in second and third would be the other thing. Now, we had picked up on, I think Louis Rafa was still, hey, somebody brought a Valentino smoke bomb with them.
Okay, so there's Kazas, and this is the way you want to win. You know, he's been careful. He's made some great decisions. Last year, he learned how to win races and won his first championship. Amazing accomplishment. But this time, a little more polished, a little more poised, and even more impressive.
Yeah, he has very much impressed. I should mention also
he's got the flag upside down, so he doesn't have the whole thing sorted out just yet. But, you know, he's doing well.
It's a learning process. They do have a Superbike for him, by the way, Colin. They gave him an R1 from Yamaha Canada, but far too late in the year to have it developed. So that's going to be a 2019 project for Kazas' team. And Tommy, of course, getting accolades rather all around the racetrack as he takes it down through turn 2. A popular win.
So let's have a look at our results, and I think everybody's trying to remember who else was in this race.
Yeah,
so
it was
Rafa,
Rafa,
who was
yeah.
a solid performer in the race, makes it up to second. David McKay, who's had his ups and downs this season, certainly deserves a podium.
Tremblay remounts.
Amazing, because he was on the ground. Coelho, who's had a lot of good results, fifth is deserved. Demray, one of our top rookies, and then we see the rest of the runners, including Vieira, who hasn't been with us for a couple of months, probably a little rusty, but a good result for that Yamaha rider.
Have to run the numbers on it, but I think Demray is well on his way to that Brooklyn Cycle Pro Rookie of the Year award. And there's Tommy Kazas, and I think he's giving Mitch Card a ride home. Got the flag on right side up this time too.
Probably good to stop, make some adjustments, pick up a friend. You know, it's always fun to show up at the party with your favorite guests.
Here, Tommy, I'll show you how to hold the flag. Did it twice last year, did Mitch Card. Not this year, though.
Now let's head down to the podium, and Frank's going to talk to some surprised winners.
Okay, we are good to go now, Pat, at the podium for the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike National Championship race number 6 on the year. And as we mentioned, a championship has been decided. At podium side is Franz Walker from Liqui Moly to do our presentations. Having said that, it is my pleasure to call to the podium with his 3rd place finish on the Kawasaki. Would you welcome, please, David the Mac Attack McKay? David receiving his trophy from Franz Walker. It gives me call up to the podium now the Grim Reaper on the number 76 Honda. Welcome, please, Louis Rafa. And rounding out this podium, we had a Kawasaki in 3rd, a Honda in 2nd, and a Yamaha in 1st. And the guy that was riding the Yamaha has captured his championship. How about a big round of applause for our champion, Tommy Kazas? When you finish 3rd, you get talked to first. David McKay, what a pleasure to see you up here, young man.
Yeah, it feels great to be up again. This was always the goal, to keep getting strong finishes on the podium. You know, it's not, you know, you don't always want to win this way or take, you know, on the podium when somebody goes down. But I knew if I was just chugging along behind them, I would stay in a good position to take a podium spot. And sometimes stuff happens, and you got to be ready to pounce when it does.
Make a lot of noise for this man, will you? David McKay in 3rd spot. Over to the other side, and the guy that goes by the nickname of the Grim Reaper, Louis Rafa. Louis, congratulations on this podium finish.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. That was a crazy race, and I saw some crazy passing going on just in front of me, and I was laying back and just waiting to see if anything would happen and pounce on the opportunity, and it worked out for the best.
You got a bunch of fans out here. Wait do you hear this? Ladies and gentlemen, 2nd spot, Louis Rafa. And now up to the top of the steps and our chat with the champion, Tommy Kazas. What a race. Tommy, I thought at one point you were just going to go for the points and try for the championship, and then all of a sudden you came around with the race lead. Tell us about your race.
Oh man, Frank, that's probably one of the closest races I've ever had. It was such an awesome race. I got a great start, and I think I was able to lead for the first lap, and then Mitch came around, and then Sebastian eventually, and it was a good pack of us out there. And once they got by me, I knew it was going to be a long race, and these Dunlop tires were sticking so good, and I knew I had to wait till the last couple laps to really push them. And I just waited out behind them, and with a couple laps to go, I passed Sebastian, then I passed Mitch, and I put one really hard lap out. Going into turn 3 there, I saw the front end of Mitch in there, and then I just held the brakes a little longer and was able to manage it around the outside, and then I got a good drive onto the front straightaway and tried to close the line on the last couple of turns, and unfortunately the guys got a little bit tumbled up and they went down, which it's too bad. It would have been nice to see them on the podium with me, but these guys got it for today. And no, it was such an awesome race. It's been a while since I've won here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and it's my home track, my favorite track, so it was about time. I was really hungry for it.
What a barn burner. I'd like to now call upon Franz Walker from Liqui Moly to present the number 1 plate to Tommy Casas.
It's a real pleasure to be able to present this number 1 plate to you, Tommy, and you earned it today. I know how much it meant to you. I was with you on the bike the whole time. It was a beautiful thing and very richly deserved.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're not fooling me for a moment. I know you can make more noise than that. Do it again for me.
Looking at our standings with 1 round to go, and we know that TV Tommy earned his 2nd career number 1 plate as a pro. What an effort. Card is 2nd, but not happy with that. Tremblay up to 3rd, even with the crash and the fact he fell at our Shannonville opener. Rafa moving up to 4th from Desmarais, McKay, and Shaw O'Leary, who didn't get a lot of points, but has had some fantastic rides in the last month.
7th spot out of 2 rides. That's not too bad at all.
What a great race we had here at Mosport, Old Mosport, and we're looking forward to another at least as good tomorrow.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Again, we will be on the air again tomorrow morning on the website with the last round of the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike National Championship race from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Today's race is brought to you by Dalton Timmis Insurance, Honda, Magneti Marelli, offered by Mopar, Drift, and Dunlop.